welcome to the mandatory. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. If you've already been rocking with us, thank you so much. We're also on the audio side, so make sure to leave a rate and review. But some big news that we're going to talk about: Ryan Garcia back in the ring. Is Showtime going to be leaving boxing? We're going to get into all of that. But Brian, before we get into all of that, your thoughts really quickly on Canelo Alvarez's dominant performance.
Yeah, not ideal for Jamel Charlo. And I think that with Canelo Alvarez just sort of dominated him in ways that I expected. We picked him on the show to win by unanimous decision plus 125. So hopefully you catch that. I certainly did. And even on points, he was minus 120, 30, depending on where you look at different points, minus 110 actually before that. So I felt like that's the direction we were heading. Canelo Alvarez was Canelo Alvarez. And I do wonder, like, the appetite. This is what I was kind of worrying about the appetite for Jamel Charlo versus Terrence Crawford, though he says he would like to fight Terrence Crawford next. I'm not sure how much it's going to be there. So I feel like Terrence Crawford's going to be a considerable favor for that fight. Not minus 1,000, but I think we're going to be talking about more than Canelo Alvarez was a favorite. Now that we've seen Canelo Alvarez beat him, and Canelo Alvarez was favored by minus 400, 430,
Yeah.
480. You know what I mean?
The odds was crazy. And when you think about, if you listen to this on the audio side, you kind of already heard us talk about it. But a lot of people thought that fight was a letdown. And then when you talk about Mel against Bud, like if he fought scared against Canelo, how is he going to fight against Bud? And it just makes me think it's a money grab at that point. Because if Jermel isn't fighting like Jermel, then what are we going to be paying for? And that's my only thing. I want it to be a good fight. But I mean, nonetheless, it seems like it's a fight to happen. Even Bud had tweeted that he kind of fought scared throughout the fight. So there's already some back and forth on Twitter between those guys. And a guy that likes to go back and forth on social media quite often is Tyson Fury. And it's finally going down. We're finally going to get the undisputed fight at heavyweight. Brian, Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk have put the pen to the paper. They are going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia. It's either going to be in December or in January. And that obviously depends on Tyson Fury's fight with Francis Ngannou. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt or nothing gets pushed back. But this is a fight that has been officially signed.
Officially signed. The press release is in the inbox. So, when they do that, it's officially official. And Tyson Fury, I mean, they're billing this as the one, which I feel like we just had another fight that was billed the one, but whatever. Undisputed heavyweight championship. We have not had one in a very long time. And this is the fight to make it a division. So I'm glad that it's signed. Francis Ngannou posted something about being disrespected, being that Tyson Fury is looking ahead. But if you're Tyson Fury, one, if you're the heavyweight champion in the world, you're fighting Francis Ngannou, why wouldn't you look ahead? And two, if you're looking at some of the sparring videos and some of the, pad work that Francis Ngannou is putting forth, which, no disrespect, but I just think if you're Tyson Fury looking at that, you're like, I got this. If you're like me looking at that, you're impressed because, like, I mean, come on. Like, I got hands, but I'm not like 280. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I think I'm not looking forward to that fight. I really could care less. I'm not going to sit here and lie
Fury
to
and
you.
Ngannou, not
Yeah,
Fury Usyk. Yeah.
yeah. Fury and Ngannou, I could care less about that fight. I'm happy Ngannou's getting a payday because he deserves it. And that's probably the best thing about it. But other than that, I really don't care. I'll probably still watch the fight. But that was the fight when Tyson made the fight. I was like, I want Usyk and Fury. Now we're finally getting it. So a little bit of details on that. Of course, there were questions about how this is going to be split. Usyk's team really fought for a 60-40. Tyson Fury was like, nah, that ain't happening. I'll give you 30%. Usyk is just an OG, so he was like, I'll take the 30. So it's a 70-30 split, which is crazy. And I honestly think that this is going to be a very, very entertaining bout. Before coming into this one, Brian, I didn't know who I was going to take. I was leaning toward Usyk, but now I don't know at all. Now I'm like, ooh, because, you could argue that Fury is still the best heavyweight in the world. And Usyk got dropped in his last fight. People forget about that. He got dropped in his last fight, and he's the smaller guy. And we know Tyson Fury. We've seen him in the ring. He is relentless at times. He's going to box you. And you know what? I think it's actually a good move for him to fight Francis Ngannou, get a little bit of confidence, make a big payday, and then go and fight Usyk. But early thoughts on how you see this one unfolding?
I've always leaned Tyson Fury in this fight. The Danny Dubois bout, which a lot of people are arguing that Danny Dubois should have won. Was it a body shot? Was it a low blow?
Mm,
Whatever. Like I think that doesn't have a real impact on me in terms of how I feel about this. I think that if it were ruled a real body shot, Usyk would have gotten up, right?
yep.
Like, I think that because it was a low blow, he sort of milked it. Should it have been a real body shot, knockdown, whatever? I don't know, but I don't think Tyson Fury is going to be hurting Oleksandr Usyk to the body. I think it's going to be more movement. I think it's going to be more just being the dominant heavyweight that he has been in terms of using his physicality, not necessarily his power, but using his physicality with his speed to overwhelm somebody who's smaller and skilled, but smaller like Usyk. Like if I just think that if somebody's going to beat Tyson Fury, I'm not sure it's going to be Oleksandr Usyk unless
Ooh.
Tyson Fury takes too many chances and gambles uncharacteristically on himself in that way. I think it would. I think Deontay Wilder is probably like the best you can do in terms of somebody who profiles as someone who's going to be Tyson Fury to me, because I think you need to have the power to drop that dude, and I'm not sure Alexander Usyk ultimately does.
I don't think it's one of those things where Usyk has to have the power to drop him because I think he can outbox Fury, right? Because he is the
I do
smaller
not.
guy.
I do not.
I think he can. I think he has the possibility to. And obviously AJ and Tyson Fury in two different lanes. Like, let's just keep it a buck here. But I do think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think the fact that he's smaller, the way he moves around the ring, his footwork is going to come into play in this fight. So I think it's going to be extremely entertaining. But listen, if Daniel Dubois did that to Usyk, right? Depending on whatever you think, Fury is going to have a field day with him. So I think this is the fight that we all wanted. The fans wanted it. It's undisputed at heavyweight. And here at the Mandatory, we want to know how you're going to be picking this fight. Make sure to drop some comments below. How stoked are you for Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk? And when we get into the betting lines, like I think this is actually going to be pretty close. Like I could see Fury being the favorite in this one still. I think it could be like a plus 126, maybe a minus, maybe like Usyk being a plus 126 or something like that. Maybe Tyson Fury being, a minus 110. I don't know. Something. I think it's going to be pretty close.
I'm looking to see if they're available right now because
I
it's been announced that's happened before. I mean, there was a time where
Bud and
several,
Spence was
yeah,
up there for a minute before it
that's what
was
I was gonna say.
announced.
It was up there for over a year before the fight actually took place. And yeah, DraftKings has a line. December 23rd is the listed date. That was one of the reported dates. So they're going with December 23rd. And I
Ooh,
do
I
hope it's
love
December
that. That's
23rd.
during Christmas time. I love that.
I love the date, yeah, because we never really get fights that late in the year, and like otherwise, we'd probably take those last couple weeks of the year off, but we'll probably do that and then take off for a while. The money line right now is Tyson Fury minus 245, Alexander Usyk plus 185, so
Yeah.
a little bit more of a gap than probably I would have thought than you thought based on what you were just saying, but I think that's kind of fair coming off the Danny Dubois fight. And ultimately, if Tyson Fury, if he struggles or plays around with Francis Ngannou, the line will probably move down. So if you're somebody who's looking to bet Tyson Fury over Alexander Usyk, what you want is for him to fuck around with Francis Ngannou for a bit, so that minus 245 on the money line comes closer to 200. But 2 to 1 sounds about right.
I'm not even tripping about that. I honestly think
Good
that
value on
if
Usyk.
that's what I'm
So
saying. So if you're rolling with Usyk and you think that he's the better heavyweight and you think his size is going to be a factor where he moves around the ring, maybe gasses out Fury, because Fury, think about it, like all that mileage, those Deontay Wilder fights, you have to think that has taken a toll on his body.
that's
Like
true.
I'm also taking that into effect. Like Deontay Wilder, I mean, not to get into him, but he's another guy I want to see in the ring. I wanted him against Andy Ruiz. I wanted him against Anthony Joshua. But
Somewhat.
the fact that we're getting this fight is amazing. And as I was saying, it's like the mileage on Tyson Fury's body and what he's gone through a little bit more than Usyk. Of course, Usyk cleaned up the cruiserweight division, but like you said, the cruiserweight division is probably one of the most boring divisions. Not many names up in there, so not too much of a surprise. But here at the Mandatory, we want to know how you're also going to bet early bets. Come in, drop those comments. And of course, if you like the content, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We do appreciate you. And shout out to everyone that has been rocking with us.